Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Professor Adam Ahmed Adam. You are welcome to this parasitology lecture. It is about introduction to medical parasitology. To make things easy for understanding and handling, I divided the lecture into two parts, 1 and 2. We come to the definition of the medical parasitology. It is a science of parasites that negatively affect human health, causing diseases. The medical parasitology is composed of three sciences. On your extreme left-hand side, the protozoology, that is the science of protozoa. Protozoa are unicellular parasites. The whole parasite is composed of just one cell. See the images. In the middle, the helminthology, which is the science of helminths, the worms. And here, the worm is multicellular parasite. On the extreme right-hand side, the entomology, which is the science of arthropods, including the insects. The invertebrates, that is to say, with no vertebral columns, these are animals with segmented body and jointed appendages. The parasitism, which is a parasitic relationship. Parasitism is a relationship between two organisms. In our case, one of them is human. In parasitism, one of those two gets benefit, that is a parasite, and the other is harmed, that is human. The parasite itself is an organism that lives in or on another living organism. In our case, is human. The parasite obtains benefits from it, from the human being, and causes harm to the host, disease to human being. These are summarized in the figure. The big figure represents human, and the small one represents the parasite. You see in this relationship, the green arrow that exemplifies the benefit is going from human to the parasite. But the red arrow highlighted as harm is going from the parasite to human being. So in this, the outcome of this relationship is that benefit to the parasite and disease to human. Classification of parasites. One of the classification that according to the anatomical site affected. You see here on your left hand side the ectoparasites. These are the parasites that live outside the body, that say live on the body surface. These are the arthropods. On the right side, the endoparasite living inside the body. And these are the protozoa and helminths. So the endoparasites are composed of protozoa, the unicellular parasites, and the protozoa are composed of the amoeba, a big group, ciliates, flagellates, and sporozoans. The helminths, which are the worms, these are macroparasites, multicellular. The organism is composed of so many cells. They are further subdivided into two major groups according to the shape of the cross-sectional area. So if you cut across the worm, the resulting shape may be round. These are the round worms, the nematodes. Anatomically, intestinal nematodes and tissue nematodes. The other may be flat, dorso-ventral flat, the flatworms. These are the platyhelminthes, further classified into cystodes, which are the tapeworms, and the trematodes, which are the leaf-like worms. The worm looks like the leaf of a tree. I would like to mention here that regarding the helminths, the number of the helminths infecting human after infection will not increase. So the number of infective stages may be forming worms. The number of these worms will not increase. It may decrease by death of some, except for certain worms like Strongyloides stercoralis and Hymenoleucopus nana, where they lead to autoinfection. That to say, they reinfect while they are inside the body. Sometimes you will find high worm burden, high worm load, many worms inside the body. And that is due to the repeated infection. So the person can be infected many times by the worm. Each time more worms will be added. If we talk about the parasitic cell, it is an eukaryotic cell, a eukaryotic cell. In contradistinction to the bacterial cell, which is a prokaryotic cell. The eukaryotic cell is a well-developed cell with a true nucleus, which has a nuclear membrane in addition to well-developed intracytoplasmic organelles like Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, and so on. Both helminths and arthropods belong to the kingdom Animalia. They are animals. But the protozoa belong to the kingdom Protista. They are not animals. We come here to the host. The host is an organism that harbors or accommodates the parasite and providing it with nourishment, that's a nutrition, and or shelter, that you have space to live in which the parasite lives, maybe the whole life cycle or part of it. The hosts are also divided into so many types. The definitive host, also known as primary or final. The definitive host is a host in which a parasite either reaches adulthood, so you find adult stages in the host. Whenever you find a host harboring the adult stages for that parasite, this host is a definitive host. Some parasites have no adult stage. So here we resort to the life cycle. If that parasite has got its life cycle in sexual life cycle in this host, we call it primary host. So the primary host either accommodates the adult stage or the sexual life cycle. Examples: human is a definitive host for Tinea saginata and Tinea solium because we are going to find the adult stages. The female Anopheles mosquito, we are going for Plasmodium falciparum, we're going to find the sexual life cycle of Plasmodium species, maybe falciparum or other, in the mosquito, Anopheles mosquito. So mosquito now here, the female Anopheles mosquito is the definitive host. The intermediate or secondary host, it is just the reverse of the definitive host. Instead of the adult stage, we are going to find here only the larval stages. There we can, in the definitive host, we find the sexual life cycle. Here we are going to find the asexual life cycle. The examples: cattle for Tinea saginata. We are going only to find the larval stages in the cattle of Tinea saginata, only the larval stages in the cattle. Humans harbors the asexual life cycle of Plasmodium species. So human is the intermediate or the secondary host. There are other types of host: paratenic host or transport host. This serves as a bridge to the definitive host. It harbors the infective stages of the parasite within its tissues without further development or multiplication, and only be transferred maybe by consumption of this, eating of the effective stages insisted in the paratenic host. Examples here: humans are accidental paratenic hosts for Toxocara canis and Toxocara cati. This is very rare and in unnatural occasions. Otherwise, humans are simply dead-end hosts. So we come to that. The reservoir. This is a store of the parasite in nature. Preservation of the parasite in nature. It is a living organism, that is a reservoir host, or maybe an environment, not a living organism, that harbors and maintains a parasite in nature and serves as a source of infection for other hosts. The parasite here commonly causes no disease in the reservoir host, if the reservoir host is an organism. It may occur in an extremely rare occasions. The examples of reservoir hosts: dogs for Leishmania infantum. Dogs keep Leishmania infantum in nature. Dogs and wild canids, that is canines, for Echinococcus granulosus. Wild mammals for Trypanosoma cruzi. Carrier. Carrier is the host that harbors the parasite without disease, without causing disease to this host, but commonly sheds the infective stages, serving as a source of infection. So what is the difference between the paratenic and the carrier host? In the paratenic host, there is no development or multiplication. In the carrier, there may be multiplication and development. Epidemiologically, the carrier is very important for disease spread. Examples: humans for Entamoeba histolytica, Giardia, and others parasites. Dead end host. So here, the parasite will reach a stage in this specific host and will not develop further. It will die. So it is a host in which the parasite survives but is not transmitted further. That does not develop further. And ultimately its life cycle ends. It dies. Example: in natural condition, human is an accidental dead end and paratenic host, so there will be no further development for Toxocara canis or Echinococcus granulosus in human, unless human may be harboring them. If he or she dies and dogs eat him, that may occur. But in real life, this is not common. Host dependency classification. So we're going to classify hosts according to the dependency of the parasite on the host, whether the parasite must live in a host or that will be just an optional. So they are classified into two groups. The obligate parasites, these must live in a host. The facultative parasites, not necessarily, may or may not. In the obligate or obligatory parasites, the parasite must live in or on a host to survive and reproduce. Their life cycle, the parasites, depend on the host. Most medically important protozoa and helminths are obligate parasites. Examples: Plasmodium species, Entamoeba histolytica, Giardia lambidia, Schistosoma species, Tinea species, Leishmania species, and the list is long. We come to the facultative parasites. The parasites live and reproduce freely in nature. The parasite may not need a host at all, but they are capable of becoming parasitic. They have got the ability to become parasites and can also survive and reproduce in the suitable host. Example: Acanthamiba species, and this can cause keratitis. It is a type of amoeba, and Naegleria fowleri also. But I'd like to mention here that there is no facultative pathogenic helminths. By this, the lecture is over. I hope that it is understandable. Proceed to part 2. I wish you all the best.